Space news, NASA has pulled off a space miracle 15 billion miles from Earth. Imagine having a computer from the 1970s running in your garage and it's still working away in 2025. Now imagine that computer is floating 15 billion miles away in the silent cold of interstellar space. That's Voyager 1. It's a space probe that was launched in 1977, the same year that the first Star Wars film was released. Voyager 1's instruments have made numerous scientific discoveries over the years, including discovering 5 new moons, a new ring, complicated ring structures. This space probe was only meant to last a few years, just long enough to do a quick tour of a couple of planets, but it just kept going. And Voyager 1 is now the most distant human-made object drifting through interstellar space and still phoning home. Voyager 1 communicates with NASA, and there's this website where you can track its rough location and other astronomical data. In 2004, a set of thrusters on the space probe shut down. Voyager 1 has a set of primary thrusters that control movement in multiple directions and separate thrusters for a specific type of movement called roll motion. That subtle motion helps the spacecraft to lock onto a guide star to stay properly aligned. It's needed for navigation. NASA needed to revive the backup thrusters before the powerful Earth-based antenna that communicates with on Earth went offline. That's the Deep Space Station 43, which is based in Australia. It's responsible for sending commands to Voyager 1, but it was scheduled to go offline for several months for necessary upgrades. So, NASA scientists at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory had to somehow reactivate a set of thrusters on the Voyager 1 spacecraft that hadn't worked since 2004. They thought that the thrusters heaters might have stopped working because their circuits had accidentally flipped a switch, so the theory was that if engineers could somehow get the probe to flip the switch back, then they might start working again. Sounds simple, except it was not. Remember, they're doing this on Earth with an object that is 15 billion miles away. The risk was that Voyager 1 might lose sight of its guide star, and therefore lose orientation and be unable to point its antenna at Earth, which we need it to do in order to communicate with it. There was also an additional risk that it might explode. So engineers had to keep the star tracker precisely aligned during this risky maneuver. And if that's not dramatic enough, it takes 23 hours for scientists' commands to reach Voyager 1, and then another 23 hours for the probe's response to reach Earth. The team at JPL had to execute this and then wait a nail-biting 2 days to find out whether or not their approach had worked and whether we still had an operational space probe. Thankfully, it did work. Thruster heaters began warming up, extending the spacecraft's life by many more years and allowing it to continue gathering data from interstellar space. This battered little probe is proof of what humans can achieve when we choose to collaborate, working together to literally reach for the stars.